Some men are not invisible. They are choosing to be unseen. In a world where everyone is posting, updating, showing everything, there is a small group of men doing the opposite. No constant posts, no daily updates, no need to show their life to strangers. And strangely, those are the men people respect the most. That's what confuses people because we've been told that visibility creates value, that the more you show, the more attention you get. And the more attention you get, the more important you become. But reality doesn't work like that. Some of the most disciplined, focused, and respected men are not online like that. They don't feel the need to constantly prove anything. They don't need validation. They don't need approval. And because of that, they move differently. They think differently. And they are perceived differently. So, the question is simple. Why do some men choose silence in a world that rewards noise? Is it insecurity? Is it fear? Or is it something deeper that most people don't understand? Because once you understand this, you will start seeing social media behavior differently. You will understand why some men are always visible and why others choose to disappear. And more importantly, you will understand which one actually holds more power. Hi guys, welcome back. Before we go deeper, drop where you're watching from in the comments. Now let's get straight into it. Men who don't post are not inactive. They are intentional. Most people look at silence online and assume something is missing. Maybe confidence, maybe lifestyle, maybe relevance. But the truth is, what looks like absence is often control. In a world where everyone is trying to be seen, choosing not to show everything becomes a powerful decision. Everyday people are posting updates, sharing wins, showing moments, and looking for reactions. And over time, that creates a cycle where validation becomes tied to visibility. The more people see you, the more you feel you matter. And the more they react, the more important you feel. Men who step away from that don't play that game. They are not trying to prove anything. They are not trying to maintain an image, and they are not performing for an audience. Their focus is different. Now, understand this clearly. When a man doesn't feel the need to constantly show his life, it usually means he is securing it. He doesn't need approval to confirm his progress, and he doesn't need people watching to feel like he is moving forward. That creates a different type of presence because his value is no longer based on visibility. It is based on reality. Another important point is control. A man who chooses what to show controls how he is perceived. He decides what people see, what they don't see, and how much access they have to his life. When people don't have full access, curiosity increases. They start wondering. They start paying more attention because mystery always pulls more interest than constant exposure. So, this is not about disappearing. It is about discipline. It is about understanding that not everything needs to be shown to be real. And once a man understands that, he stops performing and starts building. Men who don't post understand the power of privacy, and that alone separates them from most people. They don't see life as something that needs to be displayed. They see it as something that needs to be lived. While others are quick to show every achievement, every purchase, every moment, these men move differently because they don't need an audience to validate their progress. When they win, they enjoy it quietly. When they struggle, they handle it privately. That balance creates a level of inner stability that most people don't have. Now, understand this clearly. When everything about your life is public, you lose control over how it is perceived. People form opinions, make assumptions, and attach their own narratives to your reality. But when you keep things private, you protect your space. You decide what matters, what stays personal, and what never gets exposed. That control creates peace because you are no longer living for reactions. You are living for yourself. Another thing privacy does is remove pressure. When people constantly post, they start feeling the need to maintain an image. They feel like they have to keep showing progress, keep proving something, keep up with expectations that were created online. But when a man operates privately, there is no pressure to perform. He moves at his own pace, builds at his own speed, and enjoys moments without thinking about how they will look to others. There is also a deeper level to this. Things that are truly valuable don't need to be shown. Real progress, real growth, and real success don't rely on visibility to exist. In fact, the more something is protected, the more meaningful it becomes. That is why these men treat their life like something that should be experienced, not displayed. So, when you see a man who doesn't post, don't assume he has nothing going on. Most of the time, it's the opposite. He has something real, and he understands that not everything needs to be seen to have value. Men who don't post often have something most people lack, and that is discipline. Not the loud, visible kind of discipline that people show off, but the quiet kind that controls impulses in a time where everyone feels the urge to share, react, and constantly stay visible. Choosing not to do that takes control. It takes the ability to pause, to resist, and to decide what actually deserves attention. Now, understand this clearly. Social media is built to pull you in. Every notification, every like, every comment is designed to trigger a response. It creates a loop where you feel the need to stay active, to stay seen, and to keep engaging. Most people fall into that loop without even realizing it. But a man who can step away from that has control over himself. He is not reacting to every impulse. He is choosing his actions. Another important point is restraint. These men don't feel the need to show everything they are doing. They don't rush to post every achievement or every moment just to get a reaction. That restraint is powerful because it shows self-assurance. It shows that they are not dependent on external validation to feel good about their life. Disappearing in this sense is not about isolation. It is about focus. When a man is not constantly distracted by posting, checking reactions, and comparing himself to others, he has more time and energy to build something real. He is more present in his own life, more aware of his environment, and more focused on his goals. There is also a psychological effect here. When you are not always visible, people notice your absence more than your presence. They start wondering what you are doing, where you are, and what you are working on. That creates curiosity, and curiosity naturally draws attention. So, this kind of disappearance is not weakness. It is control. It is the ability to step back from noise and stay focused on what actually matters. And that level of discipline is what makes these men different. Men who don't post create something most people can't replicate. And that is mystery. When people cannot easily read you, they become more curious about you. In a world where everything is constantly shared, explained, and displayed, the person who reveals less stands out more. Not because they are louder, but because they are harder to figure out. Now, understand this clearly. Mystery is not about pretending or hiding for attention. It is a natural result of not overexposing yourself. When someone can scroll through your life and know everything about you, there is nothing left to discover. But when they can't, their mind starts filling the gaps. They begin to wonder what you are doing, how you think, and what your life is actually like beyond what they can see. Another important point is how curiosity works. People are naturally drawn to what they don't fully understand. When something is incomplete, the brain tries to complete it. That is why mystery pulls attention without effort. It creates interest without you having to ask for it. The less predictable you are, the more attention you attract. This is why men who don't post often become more talked about, not less. Even without showing much, people notice them. Their absence creates presence. Their silence creates questions, and those questions keep them relevant without them having to constantly show themselves. There is also a difference in perception. When someone is always visible, they become easy to categorize. People label them quickly and move on. But when someone is less visible, they remain open to interpretation. That makes them more intriguing because they are not easily defined. So, the mystery effect is not something you force. It is something you create by not giving everything away. It is the result of restraint, not performance. And once you understand this, you realize that being less visible can actually make you more interesting. That is the power of not showing everything. Men who don't post are usually focused on something real. They are not distracted by what is trending, what people are saying, or what others are showing. Their attention is not split between building their life and performing it online. They choose one, and that one is reality. Now, understand this clearly. Attention is limited. Wherever you put it consistently is what grows. If most of your attention is going into watching, posting, reacting, and comparing, then your energy is being spent on things that don't move your life forward. But when a man pulls back from that and focuses on his own path, his results begin to show in real life, not just online. Another important point is how they use technology. These men are not against social media. They just don't let it control them. They use it as a tool when necessary, not as a constant habit. They don't wake up checking updates. They don't spend hours comparing themselves to others, and they don't feel the need to prove anything through posts. That gives them more time, more clarity, and more control over how they live. There is also a mental advantage here. When you are not constantly exposed to other people's lives, you stop comparing. You stop measuring your progress against someone else's highlight reel. That allows you to stay grounded in your own reality. You focus on your own goals, your own pace, and your own growth without distraction. Another thing you notice is depth. Men who are less visible online often think more deeply. They observe more. They reflect more. And they act with intention. Their decisions are not rushed, and their direction is not influenced by trends. So, when a man chooses not to post, it is not because he has nothing to show. It is often because he is too focused building something that matters. And that level of focus is what separates real progress from empty visibility. Men who don't post often see social media for what it really is. A trap if you are not careful. Not a bad tool, but a system that can easily control your behavior if you don't control it first. Most people don't notice this because it feels normal. Posting, checking reactions, comparing lives, all of it becomes part of a daily routine without much thought. But once you step back, you start seeing the pattern clearly. Now, understand this clearly. The moment you start posting frequently, people begin forming opinions about you. They build a version of you in their mind based on what they see. Even if it is not accurate, that version becomes fixed over time. You are no longer just living your life. You are maintaining an image that people expect. And once that happens, it becomes difficult to move freely because everything you do is now tied to perception. Another important point is how this affects your behavior. When people get used to reactions, they start chasing them. They post not because they want to, but because they expect engagement. They adjust what they show to get more attention. Over time, this turns into performance. You are no longer expressing your life. You are curating it for approval. Men who avoid this understand something deeper. The less people know about you, the less they can use against you. The more you expose, the more you give others material to judge, compare, or even misinterpret. But when you keep your life controlled, you stay flexible. You are not locked into an image that others expect you to maintain. There is also a psychological aspect called boundary control. It means choosing what you share and what you don't. That is a form of self-protection. It allows you to move without pressure and think without influence. So when a man chooses not to post often, it is not because he is disconnected. It is because he understands the system and refuses to be controlled by it. Men who don't post often are protecting something most people give away too easily, and that is their emotional energy. Social media is not just about content. It is about constant input, opinions, comparisons, negativity, validation, criticism. All of it comes at you nonstop. If you stay exposed to that every day, it starts affecting how you think, how you feel, and how you see your own life. Now, understand this clearly. Not every environment deserves your attention. When a man constantly scrolls, reacts, and engages, he is allowing outside energy to shape his internal state. He starts comparing himself to people he doesn't even know. He starts reacting to things that don't matter, and over time that weakens his focus. Men who step away from constant posting usually understand this. They don't want to be pulled into emotional highs and lows based on reactions, comments, or trends. They protect their attention the same way they protect their time. They choose what they expose themselves to and what they ignore. Another important point is emotional stability. When your mood is not tied to how people respond to you, you stay grounded. You are not affected by likes, views, or opinions. You are not waiting for validation to feel good about yourself. That creates a strong sense of control because your emotions are not being pulled in different directions by external factors. There is also less pressure. When you are not constantly sharing, you don't feel the need to keep up with anything. You are not chasing engagement, and you are not thinking about how everything looks from the outside. You are simply living your life without interruption. So, this is not about avoiding social media completely. It is about controlling how much access it has to your mind. And once a man understands that, he stops giving his energy away freely and starts protecting it with intention. Men who don't post often have reached a point where they no longer need approval to feel secure. This is one of the biggest shifts, and it is not something that happens overnight. Most people start out wanting to be seen, wanting to be validated, wanting to feel recognized. That is normal. But over time, some men grow out of that phase. Now, understand this clearly. The need for approval is what drives most online behavior. People post to be noticed, to be acknowledged, to feel like they matter. When those reactions come in, it reinforces that feeling. But when a man no longer depends on that, his behavior changes completely. He no longer needs to show everything he is doing just to confirm his worth. Another important point is identity. When your identity is tied to how people respond to you, you become dependent on their reactions. Your confidence rises and falls based on external feedback. But when your identity is internal, when it is based on your own standards and your own progress, you are no longer controlled by opinions. That creates freedom because now you are not adjusting your life to fit what others expect. You are not performing for an audience. You are not thinking about how everything will be perceived before you act. You simply move based on what matters to you. There is also maturity in this. Outgrowing the need for approval means you understand that not everyone needs to know everything about you. It means you value privacy, focus, and real progress more than attention. And that level of maturity is what separates those who are building something real from those who are still trying to be seen. So, when you see a man who doesn't post often, don't assume he lacks confidence. Most of the time, it means he has reached a point where he no longer needs to prove anything to anyone. At the end of everything, this is what you need to understand. Not posting is not weakness. It is control. Most people think visibility creates value, but real value does not need to be constantly displayed. It shows in how a man moves, how he thinks, and what he is building in real life. The men who understand this are not trying to compete for attention. They are focused on something deeper. Now, understand this clearly. There is nothing wrong with posting. There is nothing wrong with sharing your life if it comes from confidence and purpose. The problem is when it comes from pressure, when it comes from the need to be seen, or when it becomes a way to measure your worth. That is where people lose themselves because now they are not living freely. They are performing. Another important point is balance. A man who doesn't post often is not disconnected from the world. He is just not controlled by it. He knows when to use social media and when to step away.